Exclude all the stuffs.
All right, welcome to our episode on installing and setting up Java to do Java development on your local machine. So I have a special guest with us, Mason. Mason, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody.
So Mason, give us a quick introduction to yourself.
All right, I'm a couple weeks into being a freshman computer science student. I have some programming experience, mostly with C Sharp, but this year, for first semester and second semester, I'll be dealing with C++, though I have not really done anything with Java yet, which has, of course, is what we're going to start with today.
Right. And
It's all
so,
pretty new to me.
yeah, and Java is actually, though, while it's new to you, Mason, Java has actually been around for over 25 years. It first made an appearance in 1995, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yep. And I remember in 1999 is when I first started working with Java. Uh, I heard about this thing called Java, and I was about to graduate with a computer science degree. And like you, I started with C, C++. Actually, Pascal was a language or one of my earlier college languages was Pascal. But Java, its whole claim to fame was that you write the code once and you can run it anywhere, versus languages like C, C++, where you have to compile them down into um, something that the OS and underlying hardware understands.
Oh,
So, right. So like if a C++ program was written and you want to run it on Windows, you have to have a compiler that compiles it down to run on Windows and the underlying, architecture of that Windows is running on. And so if you take that code and you want to run it now on Linux, you have to recompile the source code.
that actually makes sense. I've done some game development with C Sharp, and if you want to run it for Windows, you have to build it. And if you want to run it for Mac, you have to build it in a different way.
Right, exactly. Yep. And that's where Java is you write the code once and then it gets compiled into what they call bytecode. And we'll see that in a little bit later. And then that bytecode can be ran on any Java virtual machine. So to get started, why don't we go ahead and have you open up a command prompt and let's check what version of Java you have, because most machines come with some form of Java pre-installed on them, because Java is used by a lot of different applications and a lot of different programs that you run. So run a Java space minus version, and we'll see that he has probably a Java version 8. Now this is the Java runtime environment, which means that it can run Java applications, but what we need is to download a Java development kit. So I'm going to have you go to Adopt OpenJDK. It's one of the versions of Java that I have been using. And that's another thing about Java is that it's all open source. So there can be multiple implementations of Java, and this Adopt OpenJDK is one of those implementations of Java. So at Adopt OpenJDK, we're going to just download the JDK 11 LTS, which is the long-term support. So this is the latest release of OpenJDK 11 that has long-term support. So it's the one that they deem as pretty stable, versus you can always get on the cutting edge if you want and get other versions, but we're going to stick with the long-term support version for now. But we do need JDK 11 to support not only new features in Java, but a lot of the tooling we're going to use requires at least JDK 11.
All right, got that installed.
All right, so well, this is download. So let's actually go download it. So let's go through the installation now. So go ahead and double click on the installation. We'll walk through. So there's the file he downloaded, and I'm going to say next, and yes, probably have to accept the terms. And here we have the add to path associate jar. We're gonna leave these settings as they are for now, and I'm going to show you how to make a few minor changes to your environment variables. So just go ahead and hit next there, and let's say install. And I don't know, I heard the ding on your computer, Mason. Did you get a pop-up asking you if it could install?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always give it administrator permissions.
Right.
That's caused me many problems before.
So that probably popped up on another screen that we couldn't see that you're not sharing, but you have to, basically give it admin rights to continue the install because it is modifying your environment variables. So speaking of which, let's look at your environment variables and see what it did, because it did add something to the path. And so the easiest way to get to your environment variables is hit the Windows key and type environment, as you see Mason's doing. And you know what? This will let you edit your user environment variables. I want to edit your system environment variables. So go ahead and say cancel here. And let's type environment again, and you should see an option for system environment. Yep, the top one. Oops, go back. Yeah, edit the system environment variables. The only difference here is, yeah, click on environment variables. And you'll notice at the bottom, those three buttons at the bottom, new, edit, and delete, they're not grayed out now.
Oh, I didn't even realize they were grayed out before.
Yes, if you go to edit your environment variables, which are the user variables, you can only edit the top ones. So we're going to go ahead and check the path. If we click on that path, it's the very last one on your screen. Yep, and go ahead and say edit. You'll see that it added the adopt OpenJDK path here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a way that we can create a variable for this in case you need to work with other versions of Java. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to just change this to be an environment variable itself that points to whatever installation of Java you have. So go ahead and copy this. You might have to say edit and then hit Control-C to copy that. Yep. And then just close this for a second, hit cancel. And I'm going to have you create a new environment variable. So just click the new button and create one called Java_home, all capitals. And then in the variable value, put the path you just copied. One difference, I'm going to have you take out the bin part, just to remove the bin. There you go, and say OK. And the reason we're going to do this is a lot of tools will look for a Java home environment variable to work with, and they would expect that path to be to the root of your JDK installation. Now what we can do is we can go back to the path variable. So let's edit the path variable, and we're going to remove that top line, or just edit it, I guess, and we're going to use the Java home environment variable to point to this. So you're going to do %Java home % to use the variable. So %, and then all caps again, just like our environment variable name. And make sure you put the underscore in there. Yep.
That's
Needs
important.
to be exact. Yep. And then at the end of this, put /bin. So \bin. I think the other slash. On Windows, we need to do \. I believe that's a \. It's which way the top of the slash is leaning. So hit OK. So with this now, it's going to reference this Java home environment variable on our path. So if we ever need to install a different version of Java, we can just change this Java home environment variable, and that will point to the new version of Java, and that new version will be on our path as well. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So, yep, so hit OK, and then hit OK again. And now let's open a new command prompt, because if you open the same command prompt, environment variables don't take place. So actually, if you tried to do Java -version here, you can try it real quick. It probably won't, yeah, it's still showing the old one. But if you close this and open a new command prompt, the new command prompt will have all of our environment variables set. And let's try to do the same thing. So just hit the Windows key, type CMD or command, and open up the command prompt, yep, Java -version. There we go. Now we see OpenJDK, adopt OpenJDK in version 11. So now we have Java set up on our machine. Now to work with Java, to be honest, you could actually use Notepad to do Java and just the JDK, but that would be painful.
That would be very painful.
Yeah, that'd be very painful. So we want some sort of something like an IDE, an integrated development environment, and we're going to use VS Code. Microsoft's Visual Studio Code is an open source product or project that they created that basically is a very simple in a way to edit code, but it has a ton of extensions. So we're going to say download for Windows. Obviously, this should pop up for whatever OS you're on. We're on Windows. And save that. And so Mason has already pre-downloaded these, but not installed them just to save time. So let's go ahead and run that installation. But these, actually, all of these are pretty small. It shouldn't take long to install. It shouldn't take long to download or install. Yeah. Go ahead and, on here, before you click next, check the Add Open with Code action to Windows Explorer file context, and the next one as well. There you go. So that makes it really nice. You can actually right-click on a folder and say Open this with code, or right-click on a file and say Open with code.
Nice, straight to the point there.
Right. Yep. So you can go ahead and say Launch Visual Studio Code. And so out of the box, it's just a nice editor. And it's interesting, apparently, from where you have had this installed before, it remembered your
That
last
is
project.
interesting.
So let's just go ahead and delete everything out of here.
How would I even go about doing that?
Oh, actually, just click on the VS Code. Actually, you know what? If you just say File and New, we'll just open up an. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say New File, but go File and then open a folder, and you can just open a folder to a blank folder. So just create a folder. And there you go. And so now we're here. Now to work with Java, we're going to add some extensions. So click on the 4 little boxes, yep, extensions. And we're going to add, for Java, we're going to add the Java Ide extension. It's kind of interesting. This is one of the first ones that came up. You can also always search for Java, but click on that Java Ide, and you have it already installed. And that's just because we had gone through this video before and we didn't do a complete clean. When you uninstall VS Code, that's something good to note, that by default, it will keep all of your plugins. Even if you uninstall VS Code, it will keep all your plugins. So,
luckily,
yeah.
This one is very quick. I even just uninstalled it and then installed it.
Yeah. And what this will do, this Java Ide, well, if you scroll down, or actually scroll back up towards the top, it lists several of the extensions that it installs. Okay, no, actually this one is not. We want the Java extension pack, the one right above this. So
which
again,
is probably also already installed.
Yeah, which is fine. It saves us the process, but you'd want to install those two, the Java extension pack and Java Ide. All you do is you search for it in the extensions list, and then you click install. And this one, the Java extension packs, will install multiple things: language support, debugger, the test runner, Maven, which we'll make another video about another day. It's about how to use Maven. But this gives you support within your IDE to create a Java application. And normally after installing these, you probably want to close VS Code and open it again. So since you uninstalled them and reinstalled one of them, let's just close that. And browse to that Java project real quick. Just go to the File Explorer and where you created that Java project folder.
Nope, that's the wrong place. I might have to search this one up because I didn't pay any attention.
You just did it really quick.
Yeah,
that's all right.
So the nice thing about having me do this is we're gonna see a lot of stuff like this of having no idea where anything goes to.
All right.
See if I can
Actually,
find it
if you just open up code again, just type code in here, in the Windows. All right. I don't think you added it to your path, but I'll show you another way. Just open up a command prompt. Yep. And just type code and hit enter. And this will launch VS Code.
Oh.
And since it remembers the last place you were, so there you are. Your Java project is there. So it'll always typically open up to the last place it was. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to create a kind of a hello world Java program just to make sure that our Java installation and everything is all set up. So in here, just right click under the Java project and say new. And if you don't have the just new by itself, that brings up this option. You probably don't have the Java Ide extension installed or enabled, because that's something that comes with the Java IDE extension. The Java IDE extension allows you to work with Java almost like it's a full-blown Eclipse-based IDE. That's another, actually Java IDE or something like IntelliJ. So go ahead and click on class. We're going to create a new class and just put in like hello. Yep, and in Java, we almost always start class names with a capital letter, and yep, just like that. So hit enter. This is going to create a hello Java, and it's going to bring up a Java overview welcome screen, which on this thing, go ahead and say exclude in Workspace. This is some files that it will create as far as a Java project that you typically don't need to care about. The IDE or VS Code will manage them. And this is I don't know if you want to call this a bug or a feature, but I've noticed that this line 1 where it created this package, we don't need that. It creates some default package based on the creator of this plugin, I believe it is. So go ahead and take that, delete line 1, and delete all the empty lines above there, so the class is at the very top. And we're not going to do like a whole Java tutorial here. This is mainly just getting set up on Java, or just getting your environment set up. But within Java, almost everything has to be a class. And that's a class is a template, if you will. And also it's the only place you can actually create your code. So we're going to say public class hello, and we're going to create a main method. The entry to most of your Java programs have to be through a main method. There are other alternatives when you're using certain libraries, but we're going to create a main method. So the nice thing is with some of the plugins you installed or some of the extensions that got installed, just type in main and hit, yeah, and you can see all this thing that pops up. This is content assist. And so it's showing you, hey, what all kinds of things in a Java program might you mean or might you want when you type main. And the very first one is what we want, to create the public static main method. So click on the very top item there, and this will actually generate that method for you, give you the whole method signature, which again, this isn't a tutorial in coding in Java, but this is the entry point within a Java program. And Mason likes his curly braces aligned.
I do. It just feels right.
It feels right, all right. I guess after 27 years of Java development, I've gotten used to the other way, but this is all
in
good
coding,
too.
I think that's one of the biggest debates is where do the braces go?
Right. And tabs versus spaces, but we won't get into that today. So what we're going to do is we're just going to print something out to the console, and with that we use in the short terms we call it a print line statement, but it's actually using the system class within Java to print something out. But nice thing is there's a shortcut again. If you just type sysout, S-Y-S-O-U-T, you can actually see it comes up there, and you hit enter or choose that top one. It gives you the kind of the path or the full line you need to print something out, which is system.out.println. So the system is a Java class that you get. It's part of the base language that allows you to interact with the system. So you can use system out, system error, those kind of things. And so in here you can give it a string, and in Java a string is, and we're going to give it what we call a string literal or a hard-coded string, yeah, by using double quotes and then type in some message like hello world. And just save this. You can either hit File Save or Control S. And so this is saved now. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to run this without using the IDE or without using VS Code. So you have this Java class, and so I'll actually show you. Let's go ahead and actually open a command prompt right here in VS Code. And you can do that by clicking the terminal window, or the terminal menu, excuse me, and say new terminal. And this will actually give you by default, it's a PowerShell prompt on Windows. You can actually change that. If you click the little drop down, Mason, where it says PowerShell, you can say select default shell. And so I see you have Git, that's cool. So you could actually use Git bash or the command prompt or PowerShell. So whichever one you're most comfortable with, you can choose there.
Probably not a whole lot of any of them.
Okay. So once you change it, you'd have to you can hit the trash can on this to throw this terminal away. So on the right, hit the trash can. And now if you hit the terminal again, and notice there's a shortcut there, Control Shift tilde will also open up that will also open up a terminal. But all this does, the nice thing about this is this opens the command prompt right where you are. So right into this project. So part of the things you've installed when you installed the Adopt OpenJDK is a Java compiler. And this is, the command I'm going to show you is not something we do anymore, but this is behind the scenes what a lot of these IDEs will actually use. So I'm going to show you how to use the Java compiler that you downloaded to compile this class. So if you just type Java C, that's the Java compiler, space, and the name of this file, hello.java. Hit enter. All right, you didn't see anything happen, but if you type dir now to show the contents of this directory, you'll see you have a hello class. And so why don't you delete that class real quick? You can do a del command, hello.class, and just show you to make sure. I'll show you that just to prove. Del. If I remember my just one L. Yep, try that. There you go. Now I'll do a dir again, and we'll just see. So you just have the hello Java. So run that Java C command. And with the command prompt, you can just hit your up arrow a few times, and it'll go to through your command history. So you can get back, there you go. Java C hello. Now if you do dir again, you'll see you have your hello class file. So this is that bytecode I was referring to. So by running the Java C, it actually looked at your source code, the code we see above there in the hello.java file, and it converted that into what we call bytecode. Now that bytecode you could take, so that hello.class, you could take to any environment that has a Java runtime environment on it, and you can run this. And the way we're going to run this is just use the Java command. So type Java space hello, capital H, because it is case sensitive, needs to match. Yep, and just hit enter. So this will cause Java to look at the current location, find the hello.class file, and if it has a main method, it will execute that main method. And there you go. You're in your first Java program.
Big accomplishment.
Yeah, big accomplishment. Now, like I said, we normally don't use the command line to do our compiling. We let the the editor, the IDE, in this case Visual Studio Code, handle that. And we can do that. If you notice, right above line 3, in between line 3 and 2, it gives you this run option. If you just click that, you can just click there, and behind the scenes, it would worry about compiling it. Oh, what is this saved? Oh, this is, I think, delete the class file real quick. I think we may have confused it. There you go. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah. When we manually compiled it from the command line, I think we confused the editor. But so normally,
never want to confuse the editor.
Right. Yep. So that is the simple way, and that's something the IDE does for you. You don't even have to know about the Java C command anymore with the modern IDEs and editors like Visual Studio Code. It handles all that for you. And that's nice. You just kind of write the code, and it will even underscore things and show you if you have a problem. So for example, take off the semicolon at the end of line 5. Now Java requires semicolons to end, so hit enter. Yep. And then hit Control S to save this. No, actually, we already have a squiggly at the top. If you look under the P for public, see how it's got the red squiggly? It's telling that it doesn't like something about that. Can you mouse over that P above there? Oh, it says it's a non-project file, only syntax errors are reported. So
that bug feature, I think, what you mentioned earlier, seems to be
exactly, yep. And the nice thing is it gives you a quick fix. So if you go down, if you mouse over that again and say quick fix, yeah, there, you can change the package declaration to default package. Click that. Oh, what did it do? You lost your P. Can you add your... There you go. Save that again. All right. I think part of this is that when you write a Java program, you normally don't have a class at this level. You normally have it nested into folders, which are your packages. And so I think it's getting confused here.
It's too
But
beginner.
yes, so it was too beginner. But now you actually have the editor. So you have Visual Studio Code, you have Java set up. And so now this is where you'd be ready to go down any kind of Java tutorial as far as learning Java. So any questions, Mason?
No, I don't believe I have any actually.
All right.
Not for IDEs.
Well, this was, again, there are other tools you can use to edit your files. Like I said, I remember back in college, we would use, on Linux machines, I would use VI to write my code, and there were no content assist or no, syntax highlighting or any of that kind of thing, and you'd just run Java C to compile your code. That was a nightmare. So we've
I
come along.
believe that's actually one of the things we use a Linux server here at college.
Yeah.
And believe some of the professors and people use VI still.
Yep, I would believe it. VI is a very powerful editor, but man, it's if you've never used it before, it's a whole different way of thinking about editing. I mean, you actually have to hit a key to tell it you're going to start typing, characters into the file versus searching for things in the file or doing other things, modifications in the file. Now it's neat, VS Code has a VI extension. So if you really want to get used to VI, you can actually enable the VI extension in VS Code, and it forces you to use your VI commands within VS Code.
Interesting.
That's if you really want to geek out. Anyways, this video is going longer than I meant it to anyways, so that's all we have for today, and so hopefully you're set up to do your Java development. Thanks, Mason.
You're welcome.
Be sure to tell me what you think we should code next. Thanks for watching.